Why is the flat earth so important? Because it shows the deception. There are enough reasonable questions to create reasonable suspicion that we've been lied to. They can't afford to keep being asked. Whether the earth actually turned out to be diamond-shaped, cross-shaped, pear-shaped, there's enough to see that it's not what we've been told. And once that is revealed, everything these governments have done becomes illegitimate. That is why it matters. And that is why they will do anything they can to keep us fighting, keep us distracted, keep us at odds against each other, just like the entire world. Whether it be Christians against Muslims, blacks against whites. Government that truly has your best interest, your freedom at heart? Or does it sound like a government that wants to keep you constantly busy on paying attention to anything but what they're doing?
Assalamu alaikum to all fellow truth seekers out there. So this is a work in progress. So this isn't really finalized, but the reason why I'm putting this out now is because time is running out and it might take a long time to do part 2, part 3, part 4 and part 5, but it seems like the majority of what is needed for part 1 is ready. So this is all about trying to understand true cosmology from the Qur'an.
Whenever you speak the truth, you will have enemies. If you don't have any enemies, then you're a munafiq. Okay? If you have no enemies, then you're a hypocrite. Because only the hypocrites play two games. They like to keep this lot happy, and they keep that lot happy. They try to play in between. That's the hypocrite. But if you're on the truth, and you stick to the truth, you will find a party of people that will be against you.
Right. So for those who truly are seeking the truth, they will receive some reward here now. Madda. So if you look at the roots of madda, you'll find extend, expand, stretch. Mud. Those who have done a little bit of tajweed will know when your Molly Sab or whatever, whoever is Ustad who teaches you, says you need to do a mud, yeah, that means stretch that letter. It's very clear. There's no arguing. Look at these roots from madda. Extend, expand, stretch. So we begin with this one from Surah Ar-Ra'd, ayah number 3. وَهُوَ الَّذِي مَدَّ الْأَرْضَ. There you go. وَهُوَ الَّذِي مَدَّ الْأَرْضَ. And he is the one who stretched the earth. وَهُوَ الَّذِي مَدَّ الْأَرْضَ وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ. So we'll come to this word later as well, rawasiya. And placed in it firmly set fixed mountains and rivers. And yeah, so we'll leave it as that for now. We're just focusing on the stretch. وَهُوَ الَّذِي مَدَّ الْأَرْضَ. Does anyone else think of a tent and pegs? Again, those who know their previous scripture will know what I'm hinting at. Does anyone else think of a tent and pegs? And the funny thing is, I didn't even know that verse, but that is what I was picturing. When you stretch something, these are the two things I pictured in the early days. Yeah, basically you getting help to create a tent. One person's holding onto the other, you're pulling it, you're keeping it taut, the material taut, you're stretching it, and then you're keeping it in place by stabbing pegs, basically, forks, what do you call it, pikes, I can't remember what you call it, anyway, poles. So that's what you do, you stretch something out and you stab something on either ends to hold it in place. And the same thing goes for if you're holding a map. You see these movies, like Indiana Jones or whatever, the treasure hunters, they're unfolding their maps, and what do? They get their knife and they stab in it, or they get something, or even on your board you might put something and you'll have to put those what do you call them, pins. Allah's made this earth clearly in a way that we can make comparisons so that we can understand, it just makes sense. This is what I'm hearing a lot of people say, you know what, it just makes sense. When they start going through all this, it's like, it just makes sense. And whereas the other party are like, no, it can't make sense because that's how great it is. It can't make sense. It can't be something that you can imagine. Yeah, okay. So yeah, just before I move on from that, firm synonyms. So yeah, if it is firmly set, so if this rawasiya is firmly set, just have a think for yourself. What other word can you use to describe something that is firm? And I'll leave that for now, just something to think about, because I will be coming to that later, about the word itself, firm, and other synonyms, other words that are synonymous to firm. So if you look in the roots of mahd, you've got bed, cradle, grave, and resting place. Okay, so the examples given are, that I've at least added here so far. So in Surah Taha, ayah number 53, الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ مَهْدًا وَسَلَكَ لَكُمْ فِيهَا سُبُلًا وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَأَخْرَجْنَا بِهِ أَزْوَاجًا مِّن نَبَاتٍ شَتَّى. The one who made for you the earth as a resting place and inserted therein for you pathways. Sent down, again, that will be for part 2, this whole sent down. I'm not going to emphasize that now. Sent down from the sky, and again, that shouldn't be sky, that should be heavens. Sent down from the heavens water, because there are waters above. And then we have brought forth with it pairs of diverse plants. And the next I have included here is Surah Az-Zukhruf, ayah number 10. الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ مَهْدًا وَجَعَلَ لَكُمْ فِيهَا سُبُلًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. And again, the one who has made for you the earth a resting place and made for you therein pathways so that you may be guided. How many more have I got? Okay, just a few more very quickly. This one, so you can pause it to have a look at the reference. وَالْأَرْضَ فَرَشْنَاهَا فَنِعْمَ الْمَاهِدُونَ. Resting place preparers. Farashna, again, carpet. And the earth we have carpeted it. How excellent are the preparers, the resting place preparers. وَمَحَّدْتُ لَهُ تَمْحِيدًا. And I made the resting place for him to be at ease. And finally, the last one from this example, Surah An-Naba, ayah number 6. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْأَرْضَ مِحَادًا. Have we not made the earth a resting place? Right. So I don't know about you, but I don't sleep on a spinning spherical ball. I sleep on a flat, level, stationary bed. How about if we applied the same to a cradle, a grave, or any resting place for that matter? What will you naturally look for? I pray I do not end up in a grave that is on a spinning spherical ball. And subhanAllah, glory be to Allah, the earth is every one of these things. I don't think it's by chance that when you look into roots of mahd, that you've got all 4 of these. We begin our life in the cradle. During the day, during our life, we search for resting places. At the end of the day, we seek out a bed. And at the very end of our life, a grave. So all 4 of these are there. Amazing. Subhanallah. So farasha, another very important one. So this is used to describe the earth. So you've got farasha here, spread. So in the roots of farasha you get spread. Again, that culprit, that big problem word, spread. It's a terrible translation, a lazy translation, and it's applied everywhere. So farasha, in the roots you've got cover, furniture, carpet, mattress, brush, pillow, blanket, bed. And these are some of the examples that you find in the Quran using that. These are some of the derivatives. Firasha, a carpet. Farashnaha, we have carpeted it. And here are the ayats. So in Surah Baqarah, in ayah 22, where is it? Yep. الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ فِرَاشًا وَالسَّمَاءَ بِنَاءً. The one who made for you the earth a carpet, and the heavens a canopy. That will be for part 2, about the canopy and the sending down of water from above, the waters above. The canopy, whatever name you want to call it. If you want to call it something that doesn't come from the Bible, that makes you feel happy, so be it. But it's all still the same. The roof up there. Okay. And then in Surah 51, Ayah 48, وَالْأَرْضَ فَرَشْنَاهَا. So you got firasha, and here farashnaha. And the earth, we have carpeted it. How excellent are the resting place preparers. وَالْأَرْضَ فَرَشْنَاهَا فَنِعْمَ الْمَاهِدُونَ. Right, so yes, as I was saying, he laid it down. Okay, so if you're believing the delusion, you are giving a very bad description, a very bad thought behind how this amazing creation of Allah, how He subhanahu wa ta'ala laid it down. But it's clear here. How do you lay things down in a gracious manner? Look at the surah as well. Surah Ar-Rahman, most gracious. How do you lay things down in a gracious fashion? How do you deliver something in a gracious fashion? Put something down, all in a gracious fashion, in the best way possible. Okay, so another one. Basatwa, stretch. So this is used to describe the earth as well. Basatwa. So the roots in that are stretch, extend, spread, unfold, carpet, surface of the earth. Stretch, extend. So there's that word that I don't like because it's just used and abused. Spread, unfold, carpet, surface of the earth. Stretch, extend is really good. Even unfold. Unfold is good as well. Carpet is good. Surface of the earth. Surface, yeah, it leaves ambiguity, and this spread leaves ambiguity. It just keeps that open. Ambiguity is where shaitan resides. That's very clear. What makes the Quran amazing and beautiful is its specificity. And so yeah, it's obvious the ambiguity is where the devil resides. But clarity is where it seems to be where divine resides. The holy things reside. So yeah, that's why we need to make the effort to be specific. But these are a bit more clearer. So in Surah Kahf, so the Surah of the end times, the dog, where is that? وَقَلْبُهُمْ بَاسِطٌ. Agreed that this means stretch. The dog stretches his two forelegs, yeah? That is definitely stretch. So here we go, the earth now. So we looked at Allah's hands extending. If you don't agree with that, or stretching out, you definitely agree that that same root is used in the dog, qalbuhum basitun. So dog is stretched. The dog stretches his two forelegs, and here is for the earth. Wallahu ja'ala lakumul arda bisata. So the same thing. Are you going to say spread again? Or are you going to say, actually this is a noun. So the others are verbs doing something. So this is actually a noun. So, but it's using that same root, basatwa. So it should be stretched. The earth is stretched, but Allah is now saying that Allah has made for you the earth an object. So what's this noun? So noun is an object, a thing. So what is it? This the closest is expanse. So if we go back to basatwa, okay, it's not here, but it's stretch, and this is coming from translators. They have used expanse. So who used expanse? Okay, yeah, this is where it gets really good. So I recommend everyone to look at Surah Nuh 71:19, and just look at what the tafasir, if that is the right word, have said themselves, and the translators themselves. Forget again what I'm saying. You look at what Allah said, and you look at what these people that people revere and accept have said, both in their translations and in their tafsir. So expanse is used as a description for the translation of bisatwa, because this is a noun. So it's a thing. And what does A.J. Arbery and Abdullah Yusuf Ali say? That Allah has made for you the earth. Oh, well, they can't say like, yeah, okay, a carpet. You can't say like a carpet because, yeah, just like this one. And Allah has made for you the earth an expanse. So they say that Allah has made for you the earth a carpet, which makes sense. So that's the object. And if you go back to Basata as well, yeah, there you go, carpet is there in Basata. So that looks appropriate and accurate. But check out what Jalalain says in his tafsir. Clearly, no shooting, no messing around. A flat, open expanse. And look at what Ibn Kathir says in his tafsir. Leveled, settled, stabilized, firm. Just a few more, I think. Sataha, another root used to describe the earth. But this one is, I think it's towards the end. No, wait. Oh no, this one isn't. So this is a good one, yeah. So yeah, have a look at this one. Okay, so this might be one of the biggest gifts. I think Madda, Mahda, and maybe this one is another big one as well. Sataha. So if you look in the roots of Sataha, you've got spread, level, flatten, surface. Again, that spread is the culprit, used again everywhere. But if you look at the other two, level, flatten, and surface, it leaves ambiguity as well. But the level and the flatten, so what, you're just going to throw these out? Because some Satanist, scientist, it's very close, isn't it? Scientist, Satanist, Satanist. Is scientism Satanism? I think it's the first time I thought of it like that. Anyway, so Sutihat, it is leveled out. Wa ilal ardi kayfa sutihat, and at the earth how it is leveled out. I think is, I'm not sure, we'll have to have a look at that. But anyway, how clearly do you want it? Take your pick from the words above. And does it tick all the boxes? So if you look at the ball, yeah, does it tick spread? Yes, it does. Does it tick level? No. Does it tick flatten? No. Does it tick surface? Yes. Now if you look at the level plane that we live in, does it tick the box of spread? Yes. Does it tick the box of level? Yes. Flatten? Yes. Surface? Yes. So that's the question. What you believe, does it tick all of the boxes? Just think of everything we spread daily or in our lifetime, and think of how and when you yourself use the word spread. Just think of that. Just think of how you use the word spread, how and what you spread daily in your lifetime. Is it really that obvious that we are dealing with a ball? Well, if it is, then the translation above is according to the translation of Dr. Mustafa Khattab, the Clear Quran. What a befitting name. Interestingly, Jalalain speaks with even more clarity in his tafsir, saying that as for his words, so that means Allah's words. So he says this in his tafsir, as for his words, sutihat, laid out flat, this on a literal reading suggests that the earth is flat. Making no bones about this, which is the opinion of most of the scholars of the revealed law, and not a sphere as astronomers have it. Ahlal Hayya. Who are the scholars of the revealed law? Let's have a look at this next clip. So again, making no bones about this. Look at this. Jalalain Tafsir. The earth is flat. And this is agreed upon by most of the scholars. Of what? The revealed law. Let's look at this next clip. What is the revealed law? The Muslims are so, what's the word? There's a phobia almost behind this. It's like an Indian person being told that they have to eat British food, you know. That's how it's like. It's like, yuck, disgusting. Don't bring that to me. Don't bring those kuffar to me. Keep those kuffar away from me. They're Satanists. You know, it's like the Muslim Ummah have definitely been brainwashed as well. Like they look at the previous scripture like was it German sausages and mash or something. So yeah, what is the revealed law? Let's look at this next clip.
How do you brainwash? You repeat the same thing over and over again. start here, and you go around long enough in the same direction, you wind up in the place you started from. Yes, Thomas?
Why don't we fall off when we walk underneath, Miss Sarah?
Because of a force called gravity.
What does gravity look like?
Gravity is something we can't see, but we know it's a great invisible force that keeps us all here on Earth. It's a natural force that keeps us all from flying off into space.
We were always told that the world is flat.
You are told right. Don't listen to her. I've been patient with you, Sarah. Lord knows I've been patient. But now your words have revealed you.
The law of gravity was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton in 1687. That's almost 200 years ago, Uncle Evan.
But there is only one law. The law of God.
Now, as you can see, this is the evolution meter. And I've put God, the creator of everything, on the right side. And evolution on the left. I won't change my mind, because I don't have to. Because I'm an American. I'm dug in. And I'll never change.
Mac, look, you're wasting our time. You're not going to get us to not believe in evolution.
And why is that?
Because the smartest scientists in the entire world all agree that it's real.
I'm glad you brought that up. Mr. Reynolds, these were all the smartest scientists. Only problem is, they kept being wrong!
Oh, this is insane, you fool!
I'm a fool because I have more faith in the saints that wrote the Bible?
Yeah, because you just read the words of a bunch of guys that you never met, and you just take it on faith that everything they wrote was true.
And what makes you think what your scientists are writing is any more truer than my saints?
Because there are volumes of proven data, numbers, figures.
Have you poured through the data yourself? The numbers, the figures?
Well, no. No.
Oh, interesting. So let me get this straight, Mr. Reynolds. You get your information from a book written by men you've never met. And you take their words as truth, based on a willingness to believe, a desire to accept, a leap of, dare I say it, faith?
Come on. Look, I mean, I don't even know how I'm supposed to respond to that. Like, come on.
I rest my case.
The word spread is used far too much, for too many Arabic words, which leaves things very ambiguous in nature. Whereas when learning from our teachers, the Qur'an has very specific language in nature. The ambiguity in spread allows for the Muslim Ummah to adopt what NASA shows and what the Rockefeller, Rothschild school textbooks show, rather than what the Quran truly informs us about the earth we inhabit. How is that so hard to believe? If you accept that they have infiltrated the medicine schools, that they've infiltrated the banking systems, the finance, they've infiltrated all of this, what makes it so difficult to believe that they've taught this lie from very early on? Allah says the Yahud will be the closest in enmity, and the Nasara will, and the Mushrik, sorry, the Yahud and the Mushrik will be closest in enmity, and the Nasara will be closest in love. There's no ambiguity in that either. It's clear. Why are you choosing them? Okay, and another one that's interesting. So I had to look at my dictionary for that ostrich egg one, the roots, which clearly does not apply. Clearly, distinctly. But I had to look for another one. So this one, wal-ardi wama tahaha. So this is in Surah Shams. So I found that, because the word spread is used a lot, so I wanted to have a look at the root for that one as well. And funnily enough, it's only used once in the Quran, just like that ostrich egg one that they try to say is dhahaha. I think that's dhahaha. Yep, dhahaha. And this one is tahaha. So both of them were not available online for me to find out what the roots are and what it actually means, or the derivatives. So this is a very important surah as well, by the way. I think it's the most important surah right now. Surah Ash-Shams, the surah all about the sun. Read it with new eyes and you'll see exactly what Allah is showing us in these times. That surah perfectly describes exactly what we live in. And why it's important to our soul as well, by the way. Anyway, so that will probably come later. But so going back to that, just like dhāl that they try to say is the egg, but when you look at the roots, you find, hey ho, where'd you get that from? It doesn't come from anywhere. Same thing with this one, dhāl. I had to have a look at it because they love to use the word spread because that leaves ambiguity. But I looked in my dictionary. So if you look at dhāl, wide, expansive, level, land, to stretch out, to expand. Can you see why this is probably hidden? Can you see that? Wide, expansive, level, land, to stretch out, to expand, and obviously spread, which I've said is used and abused everywhere. But look at that, it's clear as day. Allah is describing this earth, and by the earth, He's swearing by it. وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا, and by the earth, and He who stretched it. Fine, you want to use expanded it, or level landed it, or yeah, whichever one you want to use, or widened it. They're all in this root. Take your pick. To spread out, to stretch out, taha. Take your pick of any of these roots, except for spread. Like I said, spread is just used and abused everywhere and leaves ambiguity. Okay, so I wonder why I have had to consult my dictionary on both ayat that have been used and abused to confirm the scientific, Satanist, scientific, sun-worshipping, heliocentric, which I like how someone says, was it heliocentric, tricking your soul to be lured through tricking you into sin by worshipping the sun, which Allah tells us to not worship, like these people do. Paganists, mushrik, worship the sun, and they are tricking us to do the same thing. Wake up, people, wake up. To confirm the scientific, and they say, oh, this is the Dajjalic. That's hilarious. That's just madness. That's just ridiculous. This is the Dajjalic. Astaghfirullah. I don't want to laugh, but come on, man. Come on. Anyway. So both ayat have been used to and abused to confirm the scientific sun-worshipping, heliocentric solar system. The two ayat that have these words only used once each in the Quran as well, and strangely enough, you can't easily get the information from the root word you need in the same way you can access the rest. Not by chance, it seems. Okay, so that's quite a lot covered. It's 1 hour and a half, and you might say, okay, fine, what difference does it make whether it is flat or spherical?
What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Yeah, that's their favorite line. Got a lot of people, what difference does it make? You can't figure out what difference it makes? If you can't figure out what difference it makes that the people running your world have lied to you over and over your whole life, if you can't figure out that someone lying to you is trying to control you, suppressing of information, of knowledge, is control. Deception of information and knowledge is a form of control. So what difference does it make? It makes a big difference, because once they start omitting information or lying about information about where you live, they're doing it to control you. Period. Why am I having to explain this to critical thinkers?
So let's take a moment to think a bit more carefully, a bit more deeply. Let's reflect. Let's do some tafakkur. Tafakkaru. Let's do some tafakkur over the word rawasiya. This word is widely agreed upon as meaning firmly set and or fixed. What are some other synonyms in the English dictionary to the word firm? Have a look for yourself. Don't take my word for it. So, if you agree, and scholars do agree, rawasiya means firmly set, fixed. So if that's the case, what are other words that are synonymous to the word firm? You'll find in there immovable, stationary, motionless. Are you getting the picture now? So if we agree, one, if we agree that Allah tells us in the Quran that the mountains are rawasiya, and number 2, the scholars of Quranic Arabic agree that rawasiya means firmly set and or fixed, and lastly, number 3, we hopefully can use our intellect to agree that something firmly set and or fixed means that it is immovable, it is stationary, it is motionless, as agreed upon in the English dictionary. If we can agree upon these 3 things, so again, one more time, we agree that Allah tells us in the Quran that the mountains are rawasiya. Number 2, the scholars of Quranic Arabic agree that rawasiya means firmly set and or fixed. Number 3, we can use our intellect to agree that something that is firmly set and or fixed means that it is immovable, stationary and motionless. If something is firmly set or fixed, it means it is immovable, stationary and motionless, as agreed upon in the English language. If we can agree upon the above 3 logical facts, then how can we try to twist this and say statements such as, oh, they are fixed to the ground but are actually moving in space and spinning at unimaginable speeds. They are fixed, but if you go into this place called space, you'll find that it is spinning at unimaginable speeds. So if you believe this, then what you're saying is that to us, and only us, it is rawasiya, as Allah says in the Quran. So to us, the creation, an-nas, mankind, human beings, only to us, it is rawasiya, firmly set and fixed. But if you go high enough and far enough, it is no longer rawasiya. Astaghfirullah. I'm not saying that, but this is what you're saying. Those who believe in the globe, those who do not accept that the earth is level. I'll try to avoid that word that triggers people. So that's what you're saying. If you believe this, then what you're saying is that to us and only us, it is rawasiya. But if you go high enough and far enough, it is no longer rawasiya, and therefore it is no longer standing still. It is no longer stationary because now you can see its ridiculously unimaginable speedy movement in the same way that anyone in the heavens and beyond can see. That's what you're saying, not me. That's what you're saying. Globalists. That's what you're saying. That at one point it no longer becomes rawasiya if you are up there high enough. Astaghfirullah. Is this not blasphemy? Please let us rethink, unlearn the indoctrination from these people who are in opposition to the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They go by many names, but essentially they are Hizb-us-Shaitaan, the party of Satan. You'll find that in the reference 58:19. Allah refers to them as Hizb-us-Shaitaan. But more interestingly, they are referred to as the Deniers. I can't remember how you say that in Arabic. I'll bring that up in a minute. So Allah refers them to Tukadhiban, Yukadhiban, Fabi'ayyi alai Rabbikuma Tukadhiban. Those repeated 31 times in Ar-Rahman. So they are referred to as Hizb-us-Shaitaan. Are you following Hizb-us-Shaitaan? Are you following the Tukadhiban that Allah is repeatedly referring to in Ar-Rahman 31 times? So this section I have entitled as The Earth Appears to be a Closed System. And for me, this passage makes it quite clear from Surah Ar-Rahman. So that verse in the middle, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, that's repeated 31 times and it begins at verse 13. سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ, soon we will attend to you, O you two burdened species. It's heavy. I can't remember exactly what is thaqalan, heavy. O you two heavy burdened species, which are jinn and mankind. If you look into the roots of thaqal, you'll find heavy, burdened, jinn and mankind. And if you're not sure, it's this assembly. So jinn and men don't assemble. So if you look at the next one, so which of the favors of your Lord will you both deny? Who's the both? It's obvious it's the shayateen amongst the jinn and the shayateen amongst man, that are together plotting and planning, conspiring, yeah, giving us all of this nonsense, this BS. So which of the favors of your Lord will you both deny? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ يَا مَعْشَرَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ إِنِ اسْتَطَعْتُمْ أَن تَنفُذُوا مِنْ أَقْطَارِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ فَانفُذُوا لَا تَنفُذُونَ إِلَّا بِسُلْطَانٍ. O assembly of the jinn and men. When do the jinn and men assemble together? And we're forbidden, but there are those who are working together, aren't they? Again, Allah knows best, of course, but it definitely seems to fit. It seems that way. If you are so this is the interesting bit as well. It's those same people. It's those same scientists, whatever you want to call them. You know, I don't need to go into all of that. Jack Parsons, Rocket Man, all of this. What's his name? Alistair Crowley, the whole lot. There's so much information out there. Sheikh Hamza Yusuf has done plenty on that, and then all of a sudden he went quiet. I don't know whether we're looking at a clone or I don't know. It's just bizarre, and the things that he's involved in as well. Again, I'll stop there. Astaghfirullah. I don't want to say any more. Take the good for what we've benefited from, and just leave that question mark on the rest. Allah knows best. So, O assembly of the jinn and men, if you are able to pass beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth, then pass. You cannot pass except by authority. But Allah is obviously speaking about His authority. O assembly of the jinn and men. Is that clear enough? These two species that work together, the jinn and mankind, in verse 31, those two who reject Allah, they reject Allah's favors, yeah, they both deny them. These two groups who assemble together and are trying to pass beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth. Not just the heavens, everyone's focused on up there, that they never went to the moon. Yeah, they never went to the moon, they can't go to the moon. But Allah's saying, if you are able to pass beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth, yeah, then pass. But you cannot pass except by Allah's permission. They cannot pass both up there nor out there. If that is true about the Antarctic ice wall, they cannot pass beyond whatever that limit is. There are limits both up there and out there. They can't go. They want to go. We don't want to go because we follow Allah. We follow what Allah has told us to do. They want to go because they reject Him. They're the deluded ones being given false promises from Shaitan. They think that they can reach heaven or wherever it is through their own way. So they cannot go. And they've never been. So we're now back to, on this presentation, back to where it all began, for me at least anyway. But just avoided it as soon as people started freaking out, and yeah, but it became very clear. It became clear then, but it's definitely full of evidence now, that this Van Allen belt, or the firmament, or the raqiya, or the dome, or the roof, the glass ceiling, the canopy, whatever you want to call it, they have not been. Although I included the most important bits in that compilation, I'll just give you one more in case you've not seen this bit. Have a look at this bit with Buzz Aldrin.
My parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, what we saw was we all were gathered around the old curved top radio and listened.
Talking about how many feet we were going to the left and right, and then I said, contact light, engine stop.
It was
exciting. A few other
exciting.
things, and then Neil said, Houston, Tranquility Base, the Eagle has landed.
That's just
Man, how about that?
That was very exciting.
Not a bad line.
Yeah. That's just
all these
so.
stars and moons and all that.
It'd be nice if you wore a
But I
tie that was a
didn't.
tribute to me.
No, this is my tie.
No.
I bet you thought that.
So there you have it. Who has not been? They go by many names, but as far as I'm concerned, we can just refer to them as the two names that I've seen: Hizb-us-Shaitaan or the Deniers, the rejectors. Why? Because Allah is showing us in this verse, in 55:33, that they cannot pass those limits without His permission. Yeah, they cannot pass. The sky really is the limit. Gandalf comes to mind. You shall not pass. Yeah, I'm not saying it's exactly like that, but you know what I mean. The sky really is the limit. Look at that phrase. The sky is the limit. Everything is hidden. They know everything. They know everything, and they sell us these things. It's like these songs that we grew up with, and we end up singing these things, and we don't even realize what we're singing. We end up watching these movies, and we don't even realize what we're watching. You know, it's the same thing. They teach us these phrases, and we don't even realize what we're saying. The sky really is the limit. Now, it's amazing how, as you're doing these projects, you just keep coming across more and more information, and it really does become a challenge in trying to draw a line and like, okay, now this is enough and you have to present this, because more and more just keeps coming. And in including this about Hizb-us-Shaitaan and the Deniers in Surah Ar-Rahman, I had no idea that Allah refers to these deniers in another surah also repeatedly, very similarly as in Surah Ar-Rahman. I think this was amazing. I did not realize this. So if you look at Surah Al-Mursalaat, so let me just read what I wrote here. So, well, first of all, in Surah Al-Mursalaat, Surah number 77, verses 24 and 25, وَيْلُ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Woe that day to the deniers. Alam naj'alil arda kifata. That's why I brought this up. Thank you, Brother Yahya. Have we not made the earth a receptacle? Wait for this one. Just wait for this, kifata. But interesting, the context which I found. So the Brother Yahya gave me this, Alam naj'alil arda kifata, but is the context that is even more interesting. Wailu yawma idhil lil mukaththibin. Woe that day to the deniers. So Surah Ar-Rahman identically repeats an ayah that mentions Al-Mukaththibin. That's who they are, yeah? Hizb-us-Shaitaan and Al-Mukaththibin. The party of Satan, the deniers. So Surah Ar-Rahman identically repeats an ayah that mentions Al-Mukaththibin, the deniers, 31 times, which a lot of our followers or subscribers are familiar with. It's the first session we did with Sheikh Umar Baloch. 13, the number 13. It does, you know, it's, for me, it's not a coincidence, or there seems to be something there, you know, because I'm used to with 11 plus students, you know, going through all of this. And when I was looking at it as well with the brothers, you know, Imran and Brother Sadi, I thought, you know, 13 is a mirror of 31. And when we counted, it was 31. Something strange that it begins in 13 as well. Allahu Alam anyway with the numbers. And even more so with 33 as well. So in ayah 33, they cannot pass these limits, these masons, these 33-degree masons. I don't know. The 33 is in reference apparently to when Isa alayhi salam was placed on the cross as well. Again, Allahu Alam. Anyway, so Allah knows best about these numbers, but we won't focus on that. 31 times. So I had no idea that Surah Al-Mursalaat has the same deniers being repeated identically in another ayah 10 times. This is hugely significant. I remember when I spotted one ayah being repeated 4 times. I think it was in Surah Al-Qamar that we did a session with Sheikh Umar Baloch on about the Qur'an and the moon and why we need to recite the Qur'an, I think, or not forget this Quran is repeated 4 times. And I thought 4 times was significant. Not 31 times significant, but 4 times was significant. Now this one here, 10 times repeated, significant. Hugely significant. Something else to take note of is that this is also the same surah, Surah Al-Mursalaat. This is the same surah containing the ayah that Sheikh Imran speaks of, that describes the Dajjal's 3 shadows of spiritual rule using the 3 nations of Britain, America and Israel. Interesting to note. The Deniers in that same surah leading up to that. About what these Deniers will do. They're going to use these 3 shadows, right? Britain, America and Israel. Anyway, it's just something interesting to know. So going back to the earth being made a kifata. That's the focus here right now. Kifata. Alam naj'alil arda kifata. Okay, it's reached 2 hours. Should be wrapping this up now. So going back to the earth being made a kifata. Again, I had to look up this one in the dictionary as well, interestingly. So it's like the ones that give you what you really need to know are not easily available. I looked up the triliteral root. Again, it's in page 809 of that book that I referenced. So kaf, fa and ta. Yeah. And amongst various derivatives, it was interesting to find to detain. So what am I speaking of? This one. Have we not made the earth a receptacle? Alam naj'alil arda kifata. The Deniers who are trying to breach the boundaries. Who are trying to breach the boundaries of Allah. What is Allah saying? Have we not made the earth a receptacle, a kifata? And what do you find in the derivative? A container, to detain. Yeah? So we are detained here. There is no leaving here. There is no leaving here. Not for anyone, except by Allah's permission. I believe the prophets were given access. Allah knows best. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the deen that well. But if I remember vaguely, I think Allah's beloved have been given permission. They get granted access into the heavens. But ultimately, we are here. We cannot breach Allah's boundaries without His permission. And this place, the earth, has been made to detain us. It's been made as a container, a receptacle to detain us. What more evidence do you need? So there's evidence about this earth being flat and level. There's also evidence about this earth being an enclosed system. So again, this kifata, this root, again, this only occurs once in the Quran in the form of a verbal noun, kifat, as a noun of place. So it's as a noun of place. This is where it gets even more interesting, as it leads directly onto the next question and the next ayah. Here are some of what the dictionary listed as possible translations of kifat. So it says possible definitions are. So I looked in the roots, and interesting was to detain, but that's in the roots, but when you look at the actual word itself, kifat, you'll find terrain, territory, holding place. There you go. Holding place. This is a holding place to detain us. This terrain that we live on, this territory, it's a holding place to contain us, to detain us. That's what this earth is. The vast majority of translators either use receptacle or container. Most will know what a container is, but what about a receptacle? It is not part of your everyday language. Well, here is the definition. A receptacle is a hollow object used to receive and contain something. Now, I'm not going to focus on that hollow bit, because I did hear some kind of strange, absurd things. I'm not going to go there. But I'm just giving you what the receptacle definition is. It's a hollow object used to receive and contain something. And Allah describes this earth as being a receptacle. They agree. Kifat is a receptacle or a container. Jalalain writes in his tafsir that kiftan is a verbal noun from kafata, meaning, I think he's using the Dhamma, means enclosed. Hello? Yeah, this is all confirming. and that the receptacle is therefore an enclosure. You want this said any more clearly? Okay, here you have it, the next clip.
It's not that we believe something ridiculous and you don't believe it. It's not about that. It's about we actually don't know what we're on, and we always say that. We don't know, but based on all the shit that we got by the mainstream, we don't believe that. Right. You believe that. You believe that. You believe that.
When you realize NASA they got 19.3 billion in taxpayers' money this year. And all they have to do is enough of Hollywood to give us enough photos and stories and hypnotize us and connect with our inner child.
And so they send these rockets up, but they don't really go anywhere.
Yeah, if you watch the trajectory,
right.
It's never straight. It's never straight. It's never straight. Where are you going?
Sorry to tell you, the only thing that's been to space is your imagination. There is no such thing as space.
Where are you going? Look at that. They always show the little solar panel on the side. Come
look
on,
at that.
Get out of here.
Look at that.
Get out
Look
of
at
here.
that.
Get
What,
out
the
of
Green Lantern fart? What is that?
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
There's no place to go.
Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it. And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now.
weird that every space documentary, all the series, I had them all, Joe had them all, we watch them all the time. I tried to remember all the about a neutron star and a superhypernova. Me and Joe were deep into space.
Beyond Venus, 93 million miles from the sun, is Earth. Its great oceans forming the clouds and air currents which warm and irrigate the planet.
I thought I was better than people and because I knew so much about space. And every now and then I'd watch all that and wonder, what? This is all cartoons.
And every now and then I think to myself, it's weird that we're not watching any actual footage of space. It's all CGI.
All DVDs on space are all CGI. There's nothing real. And everyone watches that. They believe it. The narration is all programming. What's above us and what we're on, we're being lied to.
Don't we have Hubble? Why don't you point it at the Earth and get some awesome shots of where we live? All the pictures and images from space are CGI. None of them are real.
We haven't gotten past that. What, are you telling me that that's okay? We could just gloss over that? And they admit that they're all CGI, except for one in 1972, which is fake. They have one picture. They say one is real, 1972. All the rest are CGI. Like, where are the pictures of Earth from space? I want to see a picture. I want to see tens of thousands of them. I want to see the sun over here and the moon over there. People should have posters and all over the world. People should have these epic pictures of the Earth from space with the moon over here and the sun over there and the planets. There's none.
Literally zero. They do sometimes exaggerate, like claiming they used a NASA camera 1.6 million miles away to take this alleged video of the dark side of the moon. It doesn't take a genius to see how undeniably computer-generated this image is. And yet, you think we are the moronic ones?
I would rather be thought as a moron for not trusting criminals than a sellout and a traitor for defending them.
The reality is...
The things that come out of your mouth, are you saying something that a defense attorney would say, or are you saying something that a prosecuting attorney would say? When it comes to the government, that criminal, that's like John Gotti, I'm saying that a prosecuting attorney would say, not saying like, we'll prove it, it's a criminal. Without a doubt, whatever's coming from the government, I need the kind of evidence that would shut down a case. If I don't see the evidence, why would I?